holding something up. So I mean, it is holding a job, holding yourself accountable, clearly,
Hmm.
but it's just holding something. I'm not talking about, holding a keyboard. I mean, like holding something up to a standard.
Hi, this is Amy. I am putting out a call to action to just get a little bit of extra involvement. I'm on a mission, I guess, to find out who my listeners are. If you have been responding to me or however that all works, I am on social media. So if you are interacting with me on social media, I so appreciate that. If you are not, if you don't mind doing so, for me, knowing who's listening is more important to me than the numbers. I just want to know who you are. James was just telling me that a couple of his recent clients said that they're listening to my podcast, and I have no idea who these people are. So I don't want that to be the norm. I would love to be able to thank you for listening. I would love to be able to offer you something that would make this more worthwhile for you. So please let me know if you're listening. And if you don't mind leaving either a rating or a review wherever you're listening, and clicking links in the show notes. It doesn't sound like a big deal, but it is adding traffic to whatever it is we're offering. So if you don't mind doing that, that would be amazing. So thank you very much for that. Thank you for listening, and let's get back to the episode. Hi, this is Amy. I am putting out a call to action to just get a little bit of extra involvement. I'm on a mission, I guess, to find out who my listeners are. If you have been responding to me or however that all works, I am on social media. So if you are interacting with me on social media, I so appreciate that. If you are not, if you don't mind doing so, for me, knowing who's listening is more important to me than the numbers. I just want to know who you are. James was just telling me that a couple of his recent clients said that they're listening to my podcast, and I have no idea who these people are. So I don't want that to be the norm. I would love to be able to thank you for listening. I would love to be able to offer you something that would make this more worthwhile for you. So please let me know if you're listening. And if you don't mind leaving either a rating or a review wherever you're listening, and clicking links in the show notes. It doesn't sound like a big deal, but it is adding traffic to whatever it is we're offering. So if you don't mind doing that, that would be amazing. So thank you very much for that. Thank you for listening, and let's get back to the episode. Hi there. Thank you so much for listening to Grounded in Maine today. My name is Amy Fagan. My guest today is Sam Mitchell. Sam is the host of a super cool podcast called Autism Rocks and Rolls. And he's got some great stories and he's got some great insight to share. So I hope that you guys enjoy this. And I'm going to get right to Sam. I will talk to you guys next week. Hi, this is Amy. I am putting out a call to action to just get a little bit of extra involvement. I'm on a mission, I guess, to find out who my listeners are. If you have been responding to me or however that all works, I am on social media. So if you are interacting with me on social media, I so appreciate that. If you are not, if you don't mind doing so, for me, knowing who's listening is more important to me than the numbers. I just want to know who you are. James was just telling me that a couple of his recent clients said that they're listening to my podcast, and I have no idea who these people are. So I don't want that to be the norm. I would love to be able to thank you for listening. I would love to be able to offer you something that would make this more worthwhile for you. So please let me know if you're listening. And if you don't mind leaving either a rating or a review wherever you're listening, and clicking links in the show notes. It doesn't sound like a big deal, but it is adding traffic to whatever it is we're offering. So if you don't mind doing that, that would be amazing. So thank you very much for that. Thank you for listening, and let's get back to the episode. My guest today is Sam Mitchell, and Sam has his own podcast actually, and Sam is in Indiana, which I know a little bit. I've been to Indianapolis once, but um, Sam, thank you so much for coming. I'm thrilled to have you and learn from you.
Well, the first thing you learn from me is I'll say Indiana is a big fan of their motorsports.
Oh yes, I believe that. And there's what's the race? Indianapolis. There.
Indy 500.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm not into sports, but that's cool. I
Hey,
I
I'm not either. I just know that from being a Hoosier.
yeah, you can't really help it, right? You kind of have to know. I think that's interesting. I'm about to move to Virginia, and I think right near in the town next to me there is also a racetrack. And I'm not going to embarrass myself and try to say something because I don't know anything about it. But I just think I think so. My sisters live in Ohio. They're in Cincinnati, and so we've stayed with them. And then we drove because I have a friend in Indianapolis as well. So we drove. It was only like 2 hours or so, so not too far. But and so I think that Sam learned about this podcast by Caden McElwin, who is a recent guest on the podcast. Is that right? You
Hmm.
found out about me through him. Okay. And so why don't you tell us about your podcast, which is called Autism Rocks and Rolls?
Sure, it's a podcast about autism and how you cope with daily struggles that you may or may not understand. Through the podcast, it's grown so much. I've helped sponsors, a board of 8. I do speaking engagements. I've spoken in Oklahoma, Orlando 3 times, Canada twice, Stewart, Florida, Washington, D.C. We also do events. An event coming up I'm having is a summer poker run this weekend. Not a summer poker run, summer concert this weekend. I will be for charity, and I might be guest singing on there. I would have held at ACDC with
Oh my
the Midwest
gosh.
Chicago band called the Hairbangers Ball.
Oh, okay.
And then on the following Saturday, we're going to be having, not at the following, but the one after the following, we're going to be having a poker run on August 3rd with motorcycles.
Oh, okay. So now you saying that I'm totally getting the Autism Rocks and Rolls now. So you do a lot of music events. Is that correct?
It's part of it, but that's not where it came from.
Oh.
Well, yay and nay. Yay, the idea came from it, but nay, it's not where it came from exactly. The name of the podcast came from my interest of rock and roll music. So I love rock and roll music. I love bands such as Elvis, AC/DC, Nickelback, Motley Crue, all the ones that your average rock American would love.
That's that's quite a span. Elvis and AC/DC. My goodness. But that's interesting because I have a jam business also, and it's called Amy's Garden Jam. And people say, well, it's because of, because you're making jam, which is part of it. Like you were saying, that's part of it. But it was also, sort of a play on words because I used to be a singer. And so I call when I'm making jam, I call it a jam session because I am singing. I just sing alone. So I totally get that.
It makes sense. You might as well call it something.
Right? You got to have a name. And it might as well be fun. That way it's sort of a an icebreaker. And so you were telling me that you've had some pretty big names in the autism world on your podcast, which is so cool. And I also want to add in, I was asking Sam when he started his podcast, how old his podcast is. He said 2019. It's going on 5 years. In October, it'll be 5 years. That's crazy. That's really awesome. But
It's a long time, but I've lost count.
yeah, right. It's just is it a weekly podcast or is it just whenever you feel inclined to put something out?
Count 13 days from your last published day. That's when it comes out.
Okay. So like every 2 weeks, almost.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. I got it. That's cool. And so you're talking about the things that people might see or might not see, and that's kind of the gist of your podcast.
It's about certain behaviors of the autism spectrum, Sometimes I'll interview people, like you said. I've had big names on from America's Got Talent, American Idol. I've had several professional wrestlers on, such as Mick Foley and Kane. I've had people on the Food Network, actresses, one from the United Kingdom. It was Megan Prescott. It's Catherine's sister. Catherine played in what's the movie's title? A Dog's Journey, and her sister played in Skins. She's also an actress with autism, UK actress, and she was on the series Skins. But Sarah Tomko is the other one. She's an American one. Nothing, just what she is, and she's played in this series that I've just become to grow fond of, Resident Alien, and another one I haven't heard about, Sneaky Pete.
I have not seen any of those things. But so, and all these people are on the autism spectrum, like on the Food Network and
Megan was.
yeah.
So some have relations to it, some were. Megan was. Now, the relation with Sarah was she is a mental health advocate.
Oh, okay. All right. That's really smart. So it's people that have experiences with it and people that are experiencing it. So people that's really great. I love that. You neglected to say the biggest name that I know anyway, at least. Do you want to say
I don't mind to.
it?
Temple Grandin, darling. Biggest autism advocate out there, changed the cattle industry in so many ways. I would say I don't think the cows would go to the slaughterhouse willingly if it wasn't for her.
Right? Yeah, Temple Grandin. That's a big get. That's amazing. I mean, you can't really.
Yeah,
Were you
I'm definitely her
totally
buddy.
giddy? Were you
We got business connections. We're friends. She's helped us out a lot. We're going to do an expert panel with her on it, possibly. And she's guided us to a certain publishing company where we might get our book published in the near future.
you've got a book coming out too?
Not coming out. We're still waiting for an answer. It's
Okay.
just taking longer than expected.
Yeah. Well, everything takes longer than we expect, right?
Fair enough.
But that's amazing. I'm so impressed. I mean, that's how did you okay, I'm going to ask about your podcast like starting. What made you start a podcast? Like what was your plan with that?
It started, I joined my high school's media club. I fell in love with it so much, I decided to start my own podcast. And that was when Autism Rocks and Rolls was born. Grew out of a passion and made it into a profit because I never expected it to grow where it was today. First thing you know, we are going, hey, can we be on your board? Okay. Can we sponsor your podcast? All right. I didn't know at the time span you could sponsor podcasts. I thought it was for radio and television and
Right.
events. And
Right.
then the events came. Okay, our board decided we're going to host a gala. What's a gala? Never done it, but all right. Hey, do you mind speaking in Oklahoma? This was not the board. This was somehow a conference in Oklahoma heard about me on social media. How? I have no idea.
Wow. So you just say yes to everything basically.
I'm
That's
a little picky. I can be nitpicky if I need to be.
yeah. Well, I'm sure you've got people knocking on your door right now saying, "Please, can I be on your podcast?"
Yeah, but the problem is I can't answer every knock.
That's something. That's a podcaster's dream, man. To not have to seek people out all the time. You just have to schedule stuff. That's awesome. And so, all right, so you started, it came out of school, and do you love it?
Of course, I love what I'm doing, man. I'm going to an internship at a radio station. I'm going to college for broadcasting. I think I made myself clear. I'm in the right department. If I wasn't, I'd be dropping dead right now.
Right. Right. I mean, I remember one of the Jeremy Enns had said in a talk that I had heard that podcasting is it's not an instant thing. Podcasting is it's a long game. So don't expect, instant results. And that's stuck with me. But I mean, and that's kind of it's totally right. I just hit 2 years and, I've got people messaging me and filling out my guest form that I didn't even know before. So I think that's really fun. And it's just the more interaction you get, the more people you meet, the more people are going to notice you. And I think that's awesome. So who's been your
I like
favorite?
that too. That the best part of podcasting is you cannot really complain about people who you meet.
Yeah, for sure. Dare I ask who your favorite podcast guest has been over 5 years?
Gee whiz. It's a tie between Temple Grand and Mick Foley, but a lot of them are great. They're all contributing in their own world, and if they're contributing to me, I'm like them already.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I feel the same way. Like I couldn't really pick one, maybe like a top 10 or something because everyone everyone is contributing. Like you were saying, everyone's contributing to the same cause, which is, how can I have an issue with that? I just think it's all great. I'm so impressed you got Temple Grandin. That's super cool.
I guess she was impressed with me because I've heard Temple's nitpicky too.
Oh, wow.
She don't want to do it. She not going to do it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Well, I mean, she's a name to know, and I'm sure she also has people knocking on her door and saying, "Please, please, please, will you talk? And please, 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 will you come on my podcast or write my book or whatever." She's wow. What I know that you had a message that you wanted to share, and I don't have it handy, but do you remember what that was?
No, I've slept since then. But I know I'm still in my mission. The mission of Autism Rocks and Rolls is to take the stigma off of autism and other conditions that men think are disabilities. People with the spectrum are not broken and do not need to be fixed. Those who have conditions or those who want to be pitied, there's nothing to be sorry about.
Okay, I think that was it. And there was no way I could remember all of that, but you've got it in your head because you've been doing it for so long.
And
And
you have to say it every time you do a mission statement on your podcast. So once you say it a million times, you know it pretty darn off the top of your head.
right. What a great thing you're doing. I'm so impressed, Sam. And you're in college,
Mm-hmm.
so you're a younger person. That's totally awesome. I am so impressed that you've got this long-term gig. That's very cool. So do you want to talk about the mission a little bit?
I can try to. We did because there is more to the mission. That was the premises, but we want to show parents that a diagnosis does not have to be dreaded news. I mean, when you hear autism, you think, "Oh God." I'm thinking I'm going to brush my son's teeth forever.
Right,
Well, the case might be true for some,
right,
but that's not everyone.
right,
Uh, I may I may not be the most hygienic person out there, but do I make an effort to brush my teeth? Yeah. And I think, do I do it decently? Yes. I mean, I can do it, is my point.
right,
Versus some who are just, if you put a toothbrush in front of them, they're going to do something else with it.
right. Yeah, it's not like a blanket um diagnosis. Autism can mean any number of things.
It's a spectrum.
Yeah,
There could be one person who really can't brush his teeth and might. I hate the terms functioning, like low functioning, high functioning, because you're degrading them.
right,
But in my opinion, you have to be realistic. So maybe this child on the autism spectrum, who's biologically 12, but the mindset of his, it's a 3-year old.
hmm,
I know someone else who shall remain nameless, but he's an adult, but he has a mindset of a 10-year old.
right,
Then you have me on the higher end who gets most of life, but still stinks at socializing. So am I 21 biologically? Yes. But do I think I'm 21? No. Some days, a lot of days actually, I think I'm 19 years old in the mindset. But some days, I'll be honest with you, and I'm just saying this because I like to have fun a lot in life. I can be a 12-year-old big time.
oh, I think we all can put with the right crowd. We can be very silly.
Oh yeah, I like to have fun. I definitely like to have fun. Like I said, I'm a big kid at heart. I'm not really, too easy on not doing something. I'm a very adventurous person. I don't mind to do, skydiving. Something I've done recently because I was friends with this person. because he loves trains, I went for the first time rail fanning, which means train watching.
Oh, okay. I was I just had this picture in my head of you like dangling from a train and doing some like Indiana Jones stunts.
No, I thought of it. I was one day, and I didn't do it clearly because I'm not that completely dumb. But I was joking around with them and said, "Hey, how much we going to bet I can run on there?" And sometimes they have to be like the babysitters for myself because I'm so wild, and they're like, "Dude, why would you do that? You are an idiot."
Oh my gosh. So what is your favorite what's been your favorite event to do?
There's a lot of good events we like to do, but from a personal standpoint, because of the music, it's the summer concert.
Do you love to sing?
How do I say this? So, sing metal, yay. Sing new country, sing old country. Sure, why not? Sing pop music.
Got nothing to say about that,
I'll do it, but it ain't gonna be well.
right? Oh my gosh. But so the music is a big one for you. That's cool.
Yeah, I do a lot of music therapy. It's helped me a lot through my life. That's what's always been my self-soothing tool.
Mm,
Is I have to have my headphones or some headphones to listen to music, or nah, I ain't gonna make it.
yeah. The the simulation is it?
It might be the simulation, but I think it's also just the fact that someone is in a way speaking to you,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not speaking. They're singing.
Mm-hmm. It's just easier to accept, right? Okay. I get that. Music is therapy for me too. That's awesome. I love that. And so what are the other events that you've done? So you're speaking. You've done a lot of speaking.
I got you. So we done a gala, a motorcycle poker run. That's what was my dad's idea. My dad grew up on Harleys, so
Oh, okay.
I rode the Harley one time, and I want to do it again. But hopefully, that may come dream come true again. Maybe one day, not dream, but maybe come true.
Yeah.
And I've done, let's see, a Jeep ride before. I've done a winter concert. So we do definitely some here and there. We've sold food at certain businesses as a way to make money.
Hmm. Okay. Winter concert. That's inside, right?
Yes, we're not going to put you outdoors freezing in 32-degree weather.
Just making sure.
I'm not taking a chance of anyone getting hypothermia.
Right? I don't want that responsibility for sure.
Right.
Okay.
And I done it once, but then I realized, well, people probably don't go out much in the winter. Let's do a summer to see how it goes. Much better.
Right? People are always looking for stuff to do. Not me. I mean, I'm a homebody. I like to be inside. And so you've done a lot of speaking. Do you speak about the same like your mission for the podcast?
Yes, but I also try to intertwine it with their mission too.
Hmm.
One was about children, so I had to incorporate some children aspects to my speech. Another one I did was in Canada, and that was about technology. So I had to incorporate some how can special education, how can autism
Hmm.
help with technology, and how can technology help with autism?
Oh wow. That's really cool. That's awesome that you're just that flexible to be able to do that. I guess is not the right word, but it works, right?
No, it's a good word. I know what you're saying. But then I've also been a vendor for certain places. I just got back last week and we went to a family fun fair where there was a bunch of vendors and there was a bunch of kids. They had a dunk tank there for the kids. I was able to dunk someone the second time. I had a little fun myself because again, big kid at heart. And what else was there? It was like a snow cone. What else was there? Dunk tank. And then I think there was like another food truck there.
Yeah.
But the kids had a lot of fun. There was like a coloring book for the kids. There's a lot of activities. Ours was a Plinko board.
Oh gosh.
So you can imagine the kids have fun with dropping those chips in, but we
Right?
are vendors for those types of places too. And a vendor for what else? Been a vendor for blah, blah, I can't speak. A lot of local events, a lot of festivals. I was a vendor for a balloon fest once upon a time. There's a local hot air balloon festival where you can see all the hot air balloons go pop, not pop, but you know, blow out.
Right. I would imagine that Indiana is a good place for that because it's pretty flat.
It is.
Yeah. Wow. You really keep busy. I can't imagine that you've got and so you've been you said that you've been interning at a radio station
For the
and
summer. I got to an internship to get a degree. And instead of waiting, because I don't like to wait for stuff, I needed something to do this summer, so I wasn't sleazing around the hammock. I decided, let's do this internship now to get some experience. Glad I did that.
yeah, did you learn a lot?
Oh, learned a lot. Learned a lot of new vocabulary. Learned from the radio masters, I call them, or the person who does more of the on-air shows.
Mm-hmm.
I learned about at the bottom of the hour, at the top of the hour. At the top of the hour means basically it's at the beginning of 6 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
But at the bottom means like 6:59.
Okay. Yep.
So our interview started at the top of the hour.
Sure. And then they are, I mean, I think I had tried to pitch my podcast to a radio station and they said that it was too, the time frame, the length of the podcast was too, either too long or too short. It's, they need to be like, what, 28 or 48 minutes or something like that.
That's the sweet spot. I always don't have a time limit because I can't.
Yeah.
I'll rush myself if I have a time limit. And my time limits are just wacky. Some been 9 minutes. Some have been the sweet spot. I think for me, your sweet spot you want it is 30 to 45.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 30 to 59 is your sweet spot, in my opinion. And an hour is maybe a little too much, but again, can't have a time limit. So if I have to have an hour, so be it. But with mine, I guess people have said before, I have a way with words. So go back to listen to the second half. One of my interviews with Simon Majumdar, who I was on his show because he was watching the interview with Simon. He said that interview was whoa, because he apparently watched the first half and then decided I'm gonna watch this later. So he took a break
Mm-hmm.
by doing his work or coffee. I have no idea what he was doing on his spare time. Don't ask. He was doing the second half later.
I want to back up just a little bit and just talk about your guests again. So you said, did you say America's Got Talent? You had some.
I've had a Mandy Harvey who was deaf, but when she plays music, she can do it swell. It's because she takes her shoes off and
Feel the
it
vibration.
vibrates.
Yeah.
Yep,
Oh wow, that's
it
so
vibrates. It's pretty cool to see. I've had some recent ones too. I can't remember if it was 3 years ago or 2 years ago. There was this lady on there named Amanda Mamma. Her kicker was when she spoke, she stuttered.
mhm.
When she sings, the stuttering just the ploofs.
Right.
And then I've had one who didn't make it far, but he was still on there. Ben Waits is his name,
Mm.
gospel singer.
Oh,
His kicker was I can't remember that's the technical term, but it's like arthroglyplosis. And basically his arm is just like this.
okay.
One of his arms is like, it's like this the whole entire time. I'm not trying to make fun of him, it's just that's how his arm is.
But he could sing. That doesn't affect his voice.
Nope, it doesn't.
Not at all.
It does not affect his voice. He does really, really well, if I say so myself. And it's not that far from me, so we'll see. Maybe one day an in-person visit.
Oh, cool. All right. And did you said someone from the Food Network?
Yes. So Simon Majumdar, he's not been like a chef, but he's been a judge
Oh.
on a lot of shows. He's appeared on this show called Cutthroat Kitchen. It sadly vanished, but it was a cooking show.
Mm-hmm.
But the kicker was it had like sabotages. So maybe when you had to cook pineapple upside down cake, you had to prep upside down. Yes, it really did happen.
Oh,
And it was pretty funny.
like hanging
Some of the
upside
sabotages
down or like on a
yeah,
like
yeah, no, literally hanging upside down with the recline, like one of those exercise machines that you hang upside down with.
oh, oh
And
my
then one time they had to make eggs, like an omelet or a scramble without eggs. And I'm like, okay. He pulled it off though somehow. And that was an example. He's done others like Beat Bobby Flay, Guys Grocery Games. He's been on television before.
oh wow. And so it's let's see. This must be this must be just a super social thing for you. And for someone who it sounds like you have some I think you said that you have some social anxiety, but
I have some social anxiety pretty bad. I
but
won't lie to you there. I've been having that since day one, but I don't want to say it's partially both ways' fault. it's my fault for not taking the initiative for trying to socialize,
Mm,
but I had really bad anxiety also in general at that time span.
yeah.
So socializing has been a little bit trying to play catch up on, but it's also other people's fault. Because when I tried to socialize with people, their eyes would get big. They didn't understand me.
Hmm.
I thought I was flowing along perfectly, but in reality, I wasn't to them, or I just wasn't at all.
Hmm.
They wouldn't accept different.
Right. Okay. So I'm just thinking, I I I guess I have a little bit of social anxiety as well, but and starting the podcast was really, really hard for me. Um, but I feel like I'm okay now. And you seem to be very comfortable on camera with the podcast.
Yeah, well, I'm comfortable with people, with podcasters, because I know doing this, you're not going to call me one of the worst names possible. You're not going to call me an MFer, for example.
No,
You're,
I'm
you're not going to see my point exactly. But there's other people in this world who can do that. And a lot of times, it's not all the time, I met some people my age who are great, but they're people my age who would rather just brush me off instead of someone your age trying to listen in.
hmm.
And then there are some people who are your age and won't listen in. But in my opinion, from my experience, the majority is around maybe eighth grade to college.
Well, I mean, you are in college.
Right. But that's my point is I'm in the age group.
You're surrounded by that
I'm
age.
surrounded by the wrong age group.
Yeah, I hear that. Hmm. Well, and it's too bad that there's not a lot of understanding or tolerance in it. Just seems like it seems like sometimes with me the for me the world seems like it's moving forward, like we have more understanding, we have more tolerance of stuff, and kindness, because we've all seen like super crappy times, and so you would think that people would just be more kind, and that's surprising to me that that's your experience.
Right. But it could have been way worse for someone with autism or with someone else because
Yeah,
you're back in the 50s, you were institutionalized.
right.
Now I can roam on the street freely without having to worry about a doctor putting me in a straitjacket.
Yeah, but people say nasty things, which is unfair and
And
uncool.
it is, but I'm not trying to ease it off. But if I had a choice, I could take the nasty things.
Yeah,
I can't take being locked up in a padded cell.
right. Like there's something wrong.
Right. I've heard many too many nasty things too at this point. As sad as it is, I'm used to it,
Mm.
and I've heard it so much I can actually now just brush it off.
Well, I mean, I guess that's good. I mean, it's too bad that it happens, but it's
It
good
is too bad that's happened.
that it's not
I
affecting
don't
you.
like a lot of it some days, but if I didn't hear those, I probably wouldn't be able to ever brush anything off.
Right.
I was once upon a time a people pleaser,
Yep.
and people pleasing led me nowhere.
Yeah.
So after, if I probably heard those, didn't hear those nasty things, I want to make it again, and I would continue to be a people pleaser, which completely abrupted my life.
Hmm. Yeah, I get that. Um, but I love that in spite of that experience that you're having, or that you've had, that podcasting is where you kind of turn. But I mean, at the same time, like podcasting is one-on-one, which is um that's why I enjoy it, because I'm really good at one-on-one. I'm not great at talking by myself. I'm not great in crowds because I tend to just be super shy. But one person on one person is like that's totally easy and it flows really well. Um,
Yeah, I hate crowds too. My reason is you're putting the lions den, in my opinion. When you
mm,
go into a crowd, everyone's going to have an initial thought of you.
right.
It's going to sound funny, but his leg's too big, or his hair looks kind of funny, or why is he not? Does the guy ever work out? His pants are pulled up too high, for
Really?
example. I know they don't. They never said anything, but sometimes that's what they
You're
think.
sure that yeah, you assume that
And
they
in my opinion, sometimes I get so nervous because while I hate people pleasing, I want to make everyone at least safe that I'm okay,
right,
despite the
right,
fact that I have my pants up too high.
right. Some things we can't help. Sometimes, we're just nice and people take advantage of that or they don't enjoy it because like I know in I have a tendency to downplay myself and uh in situations where there are crowds and stuff and you just and I was just saying in a recent podcast episode that I don't go to yoga classes even though it's supposed to be really good for you, but I have this feeling, and this is like I'm sort of relating to you a little bit in my own way, but I don't go to yoga classes because I have been a couple of times and I feel them judging me. I feel them staring, and so I end up crying, and that's my yoga experience. And so I do yoga at home on YouTube so that I'm getting the benefit without that feeling of being judged. But the more people I would assume the more people you're around, the more people you assume are having opinions. And that's
Yeah,
probably
I hate that. Honestly, even though you keep your opinions to yourself, that doesn't help. I'd rather you've said to me, you are a disgusting pig over keeping that to yourself.
yeah. But
Because at least with being on, you're upfront about it versus hiding, play, forcing me to go play hide and seek.
yeah, sure. And even if someone doesn't, sometimes if they don't say it, you can read it on their face, right? Or in their body language. But so you said that you've spoken in Tampa
I
or
had
in
Orlando
Orlando?
3 times.
Yeah,
That's okay. Tampa's close. Same thing, right?
sure. Are you going to Podfest? Have you been to Podfest yet?
Once.
You did
That was the first time in Orlando. I
go.
did do it once, but they changed it from the summer thing to a winter.
Mm-hmm.
And usually in the winter time, I'm either in school,
Yeah.
and in the winter time, I don't like to be in airports during the winter
Mm-hmm.
because of just there's too much germs on everything. I mean,
Right.
I'll do it if I'm getting paid, but I'm not going to do it for free.
Right. I mean, it's cold season, and that's where the germs hang out for sure.
Yeah, I'm like, no, we're not hopping in there.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not a germaphobe. I'm a sycophobe.
That's valid. I mean, sure. No one likes to be sick. For
Well,
sure.
my kicker is with certain symptoms. If I get some of these certain symptoms, I will not make it. I'm like in bed because in my brain the symptoms are pain.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not talking about the ones that like you are like dead on the bed like a stomach bug. You're like,
Right.
oh god, oh god. I'm talking about like some of these basic symptoms,
Mm-hmm.
such as a sore throat,
Right.
bad ears, your eyes are burning you because you got pink eye. And I handled those decently.
Okay.
But my kryptonite's a runny nose.
Mm.
I do not do runny noses. So because there's not really medicine for it, the
Right.
way I literally solve a runny nose is I have been known to plug it up with tissues.
I've totally done that.
Oh, I know. I mean, like, stick it way up there, and then my nose looks fat, but you know what? It plugs up and going 24/7.
Right. Right. Or just the constant it's dripping a little bit and it's so annoying. You just plug it up, man.
Yeah, you
I hear
just
you.
plug it up. I mean, once they get medicine for runny noses, then you can come and talk to me. But until then, I'm not going to do that because while the medicine is relief, I don't like temporary solutions. I'd rather do permanently. And if
Hmm.
you're going to give me something for a runny nose, this better stop it for 24 hours. Or if it's not, don't even bother.
Right. Yeah. Don't give me something I'm gonna have to keep taking it or I'm gonna have, you know, relapse of misery. Um so I want to go back a little bit, Sam, uh to your mission, of course, and you were saying that people with autism are not broken. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit? I know that we talked about it a little
Well,
bit.
That's all right. I can try to say something else about it. So, like, I mean, when you hear the word autism, you think broken. We can't do anything. We're bedridden.
Mm,
It's not the case. Even those with the 3-year-old mindset can do something, whether that be color. I know a certain place in Oklahoma, literally they have employees who are how the mind of 3-year olds, and you know what they do all day? They write the names on for the coffee shop. So they're looking at a coffee shop for Lindsay Elroy. They're going to write on their name, write the name on the coffee, Lindsay Elroy.
that's
Next
awesome.
one, John Izzy. Okay, right, John Izzy. Damien. Okay, they're going to write Damien.
That's really cool. I love that. There's just such a there's there to have a purpose, like to have something to look forward to is so important. It's so I think like underrated. I mean, I know that there's, the reason to get out of the house, reason to, like people that have dogs because it makes you get out of bed and stuff like that. But, folks that have, autism and things on the spectrum, like there there are a lot of things that people can do. And if you label someone as autistic, that some people might take that, like you were saying, like you can't do anything, but that's not true at all.
Right. And it's frustrating that no one will give us a chance. In
Hmm.
my opinion, there are some companies, you put on that checklist autism, you have any disabilities.
Forget it.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
are you kidding me? Why
Right.
would you do that? Have you not seen what else I can do? Yeah, I'm gonna have some accommodations. But do you do it for your other employees? A. B. Have you seen me at work? Answer, no. You just seen me at probably one of the worst points of my time. I've had to do a job interview.
Right.
I'm not saying I'm not sucky at job interviews. I'm just saying knowing others who probably done job experiences, it's probably sometimes not the best.
Hmm. Yeah, I hear that. It's too bad. And autism or not, people are labeled a lot, and it's really unfortunate. We just really need to learn to accept and just be kind to people. For real. I just feel like that is I feel bad that that's been your experience, really. And I know that it happens for a lot of people, but I just feel like, you know, as much as we know now, we should just be more kind.
Well, I appreciate you feeling bad, but I can't do anything about it now.
I know.
I
I
mean,
know it doesn't help.
it it, it's been done. I can't erase what
Right.
happened.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so I asked this of everyone, Sam, that I have on the podcast, but what does the word sustainability mean to you?
Holding something up. So I mean, it is holding a job, holding yourself accountable, clearly,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just holding something. I'm not talking about, holding a keyboard. I mean, like holding something up to a standard.
Ah, okay.
It's kind of like it's going to sound a Gordon Ramsay holds up his standards with food,
Yeah, he does.
and he hasn't changed his mind. You've seen him on television. If it's garbage, he's not afraid to tell you, dude, that is raw and garbage. I'm mad. Get out of the kitchen.
Right.
That's he's showing them, in my opinion, sustainability by not letting a raw steak slip by his tongue.
All right. So holding something up, that's really good. That's a different angle than I've heard before. That's really great. And then if somebody wants to be in touch with you or follow you or listen to your podcast, or how can someone find Sam Mitchell?
Yeah, got where you're going with that. So you can find me on your favorite media platform. Not a hard guy to find. I've been on Podbean, YouTube, Spotify. If you Google me, something will pop up. And I know this because I've done it in the search engine optimization.
Ah, okay. And so it's not as Sam Mitchell, it's Autism Rocks and Rolls.
Yes, ma'am.
So look for Autism Rocks and Rolls wherever you are on the socials. And you can listen to Sam's awesome podcast and learn more about people, humanity.
Have a nice day, everyone. And thank you again, though, Amy, for letting me come on again. It was fun.
No, of course. I'm happy to do that. And it was so nice to get to know you a little bit better. So Autism Rocks and Rolls, folks, check it out. And thank you, Sam. I just want to take a second to thank my guest again for speaking with me and sharing such great information. I love having these conversations with folks. I also want to thank Buzzsprout for hosting the podcast, for Jane Bolduck and her music genius, for Becca Coffron and her award-winning artwork. And thank you for listening. I appreciate that so much. Please check out the show notes for any links and extra information. And if you would like to follow my guest and find out more about them, I'm sure they would love the follow. And if you don't mind leaving a rating or review wherever you're listening, and just help to get this podcast in front of new eyes, that would be amazing. I would really love that. And feel free to reach out to me on the socials and let me know what you're thinking. And if you would like to be a guest on the podcast, please let me know that. I would love to have a conversation with you about sustainability. All right. Thank you again. I hope you have a great rest of the week.
There'll come a day, my mama told me, when I find love to have and hold me, a heart that's strong and so sincere. Just tell me, how do I get there from here? Oh, tell me, how do I get there from here? 'Cause here and now I'm so far down that mercy's bound to find me. We'll find a way to soothe the sickness. We'll heal the ache with sweet forgiveness. Wages of war will disappear. Just tell me, how do I get there from here? I wonder, how do I get there from here? Yeah, 'cause here and now I'm so far down, and mercy's bound to find me. When that state of grace has finally found me, well, there'll be music, ooh, and good friends around me, yeah. And I'll just smile through happy tears and wonder,